All right, so I'm going to start off by saying the things that I'm going to be saying. We're not going to be pointing any fingers, making any comments about others, or exposing someone else's mistakes, okay? This is about you as an individual, all of you. I'm speaking to the ladies and to the gentlemen equally. Dating should be intentional, God-honoring, and rooted in wisdom, not emotional alone. Proverbs 4:23 tells us, guard your hearts above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Your journey begins with your maker. Dating can conjure up all kinds of stress because of the uncertainty about how to do it. What am I supposed to do if I'm interested in somebody? What are the rules? Do I call them? Is that weird? Do I tell them that they're pretty or cute? Is that stalkerish? Do I comment on their socials a lot? Do I text them, or is that too informal? Do I stay casual and ask to hang out? Should I ask to go on a date? Is that too formal? What are the rules? Fear, pride, and lust are driving people into isolation or creating shallow relationships that do not serve human flourishing. Because of all of our connectivity through technology, we have suffered a loss of community. We must get a relationship with God right before we will ever get a relationship right with a guy or a girl. Your relationship with a guy or a girl, though important, is not the most critical relationship in your life. And it's not the relationship that God is the most concerned with. Before you seek someone to date, you need to get on board with God. Before you marry a mate, you need to meet your maker. It's the stability of walking with Him that we have the resources to be a blessing to another. We have to be connected to the source of life if we're going to be a source of life. You're only as strong in your human relationships as you are in your relationship with Jesus. Your relationship with Jesus prepares you for your relationships in dating and in marriage. Being honest, open, and transparent with Jesus carries over to your relationships. So if you've done things, repent, let go of the guilt, and start over. You can start fresh. You can decide today, I will not do those things anymore. Are you dating for the right reasons? Anyone can date, and anyone can get married. Finding someone is easy, but finding the right someone, the right way, is not. Dating is not in the Bible. What we call dating is our modern process of evaluation. But what are we evaluating? Another person. What are we looking to discern? Whether or not to spend the rest of your life with that person. The stakes are high, and it shouldn't be entered to lightly. Dating can initially be light and fun, but it should always have a purpose. Because dating is a process, and process has movement. Movement is a series of actions with a predetermined end. Dating is not a status you sit in without momentum. It's meant to have movement to a destination, and that destination is marriage. You should not be looking for someone to complete you. Dating is not about chasing a person in whose eyes we find a sense of fulfillment or meaning. You are not half of a person waiting for another half of a person to complete you or make you whole. Let's consider, am I dating out of loneliness? Am I ignoring red flags? Am I honoring God in my relationships? Attraction is real, but it isn't enough. Attraction often starts relationships, but it can't sustain healthy ones. Teens often ask, are they attractive? Are they popular? Do they like me? But attraction isn't always about looks. Better questions are, do they respect me? Do they honor God? Do they have integrity? Do they bring peace or confusion? 1 Samuel 16:7 says, people look at outward appearances, but the Lord looks at the heart. Have you ever ignored someone because of their, ignored someone's character because you liked the attention? Let me tell you, attention is not the same thing as care. Attention spans wane. We often give attention to what catches our interest in any given moment, but who will continue to invest in you when things are unpleasant or difficult? When you are at odds with each other, immaturity seeks pleasure and fun. It gives attention to that for as long as it has it. But true care means someone will walk through difficult things even when it's not light, fun, interesting to them personally. You're gonna go through hard times in your life. You're gonna want somebody that will be there, that can just be there in silence, or can be there to encourage you to move on so you don't sit in the difficulty. So don't confuse attention with love. Sometimes people stay in unhealthy relationships because they love being wanted. Attention can feel exciting. Constant texting, compliments, validation, but attention without commitment, respect, and consistency often leads to hurt. Attention and intentionality are not the same thing. A godly person will not just want your attention. They will respect your heart, your purity, your boundaries, and your walk with God. Do not lower your standards just because someone finally notices you. Sometimes red flags are ignored because they don't want to lose the feeling of being wanted. But being wanted is not the same thing as being valued. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7 tells us that real love is patient, kind, and selfless. We all want to be wanted, but don't lower your standards for that. They may be nice or make you feel valuable, but if they are living in a way that does not please God, they will never bring you true joy. Listen, your value does not come from whether someone notices you, likes you, texts you, or chooses you. Your value was already decided by God long before a boy or a girl had an opinion about you. One of the biggest mistakes people make in dating is confusing attention with love. And speaking of love, don't rush to say, I love you. Reserve that for a deep connection. Reserve it for when you're absolutely sure and know they are the one. And if someone says it to you, it's okay not to say it back. And the other one needs to accept and respect that. You can kindly say, I deeply care for you, but I am not ready for that level of commitment yet. And this is where that open communication is beneficial. As you are seeking and evaluating dating, there will be others seeking as well, but in all manners of direction. Some will cross your paths right in front of you. They may be pretty or cute, but they may be running in a totally different direction, pursuing things other than God. You then tell yourself, they may be attractive, but I'm not going to seek them because they are headed in a different direction than me. You do not want to date somebody who is just playing games with God. You don't want just a believer in God. You want a pursuer of God. You need to watch their life over a period of time. You want to be able to see the why behind the decisions that they make. The motivation you want to see is that they desire to please the Lord. If someone is not mature enough to be patient, but needs instant gratification, a title, or a warm body, they may not be ready to date. And that's okay. Not everyone will be ready at the same time. I have told all of my girls, dating is not an age thing. Just because you turn a certain age does not mean that you should be able to date. Maturity has a lot to do with dating. Outside of accepting Christ as your Savior, choosing who you date or marry is the most important decision you will ever make. Ladies, if you have to beg him to go to church now, imagine how exhausted you will be when you have to do that week after week after week for the rest of your life. Men, if she sees your allegiance to the Lord as a cute hobby, then she will not enthusiastically join you in leading at church. Ultimately, you cannot lead her where she is not willing to go. Date for marriage. If they're not leading you closer to Christ, they are leading you further away. I tell my girls this all the time. There is no sitting still. You say, Mrs. V, I don't know them well enough to know if I want to marry them. Then you shouldn't be dating them. It's okay to just be friends first. It's okay to let them know you're interested and want to get to know them. Invite them over to spend time with the family. You can tell a lot about someone's character by how they treat your family. And the old saying goes, when you marry someone, you aren't just marrying them, you're marrying their family as well. Wisdom comes with age, and your parents can see red flags. There is an importance of partnering with your parents to help evaluate dating. It's not a time to sell your parents on someone you like. It is a time to be extremely honest about finding the right person and not just the hottest person in school. Mature dating is not about social status. If I were to ask you what kind of person you would like to date or marry, you'd probably list a set of characteristics: handsome, pretty, funny, charming, sensitive, makes me laugh, she needs to be shorter than me. When you do this, you are trying to customize your order to get what you think is best for you. That is how you order a burger, not how you order a date. Not how you date, you don't order a date. You are looking for a person to love, not a product to consume. We are all fully functioning human beings. You cannot assemble one to meet your preference. When you date, as you grow together, you will encourage, challenge, and shape each other. You will have to adapt, change, and sacrifice during this process. This means God can change our preferences and stay open to God's surprises and not have a type. My best friend had a list of these characteristics, and the man that she ended up falling in love and marrying was a total opposite, but he was a godly man. And one of her characteristics was the height. Y'all are so focused on impressing each other. Why? Do you know the best way to impress somebody? Just be yourself. And you know what happens when you do? You eliminate half the work. Because if you're trying to impress somebody, later on, you're stressing over being the real you. Eliminate the work. Because relationships are work. I have raised 4 independent girls. But in that independence, I taught them that when it comes to relationships, they are to step back and let him lead. Ladies, you are called to be a helper, and that is not an inferior role. It is an equal partner to spiritually strengthen and support through prayer, encouragement, demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit, and to gently and respectfully hold accountable. How is he treating you? Are you the helper he needs? This looks different for every female. Guys, if she has a spiritual gift of service, you will see it. But if she has a spiritual gift of wisdom, you may get a lot of suggested advice to weigh in humility to the Lord. Gentlemen, how is she treating you? Does she allow you to lead? It could be difficult for a woman with the gift of leadership, but ladies, you must still step back. Give him encouragement and the chance to lead, even if leadership isn't one of his spiritual gifts. Ladies, you have to be open to trusting God with him making mistakes. And men, you have to be on your knees praying for the direction on leading. If he isn't willing, ladies, if he isn't willing to ask your father to date you or marry you, you shouldn't be dating him. It's not an old tradition, it's respect. But ladies, if you have to communicate that expectation to them. If he asks to date you, you respond, response should be, you need to ask my dad first. Some of your parents may already have this guideline in your home. Good for your parents. We actually have that expectation in our household. But more importantly, if he isn't willing to ask your heavenly Father to date you or for your hand in marriage, don't let him have your heart. A godly man doesn't just ask, do I want her? He asks, God, is this your will? Because you are God's literal daughter we are talking about. Guys, she is God's daughter. Not someone to casually pursue, not someone to handle carelessly, not someone to love halfway. A man who fears God understands that pursuing a lady means first seeking the Father who loves her most. Pursue with prayer, but move with wisdom. A man led by God will be willing to hear wait, grow first, or even no. Actually, with one of my daughters, one of the gentlemen that is interested has come to me and my husband and asked, what is it that I need? What is it that I need to be able to date your daughter? And kudos to him for coming forward. But our response was that we wanted to see more growth. He's a Christian, and we know that. But we want to be able to see him lead in the relationship. Because obedience matters more than possession. The right man won't just want your heart. He'll honor the God it belongs to first. So ladies, don't be so eager to be chosen that you ignore whether he's seeking God while chasing you. And gentlemen, leadership matters. Leadership is not controlling someone. Leadership means seeking God first, taking responsibility, being trustworthy, protecting purity and boundaries, owning your mistakes, treating women with honor. So before you ask, how do I get a girlfriend? You need to ask, am I becoming the kind of man who can love someone well? Proverbs 31:10 says, who can find a virtuous woman? She is worth far more than rubies. Rubies, a rare jewel. Gentlemen, handle her with care. And ladies, present your worth. Don't diminish it. A gentleman who truly follows Jesus will not pressure to compromise convictions. If he gets frustrated because you have boundaries, that tells you something about his character. But ladies, it goes the other way. If you are pressuring a gentleman, it says something about your character as well. Fighting versus disagreeing. What is the difference? Don't believe the lie that if you don't fight, you have a weak relationship. Disagreements are inevitable, but fighting is a choice. The goal of conflict should be understanding and progress, not winning. Not intentional hurting. Disagreements cause growth. Fights create division. And in the 31 years that I have been married, my husband and I have never had one fight. Disagreements? Sure. James 1:19 says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Proverbs 17:19 says, whoever loves a quarrel loves sin. Boundaries protect relationships. Boundaries are not punishments. They create freedom. Boundaries may look like guarding physical boundaries, healthy communication, not isolating from friends and family, and accountability. 1 Corinthians 10:23 says, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. What boundaries help relationships stay healthy? Let's say someone has expressed interest in you that you are not interested in. Ghosting is neither godly nor gracious. Give the courtesy of a response, even if it feels potentially awkward. If you aren't interested, say something. But we only block and bless when someone is completely inappropriate. Sexting, repeated harassing after trying to end things. Believers in Jesus do not need to play games. I'll flirt a little tonight, but I'll wait till 2 weeks later to return a text. The goal of dating is not to make someone conform to a standard you have imposed. It is to assess what kind of person they are and discern whether the two of you are an appropriate, healthy fit. So now you have decided a person you have been dating isn't right for you. How do you break up with them? Though breakups can provide the opportunity to better ourselves and pursue a brighter future, they can be intensely painful. Remember, dating exists to evaluate whether two people should make a covenant to love each other until death do us part. Because dating exists for the purpose of evaluation, the potential is always there that one or both of you may come to the conclusion that the two of you are not meant to make this kind of commitment. Remember, you are ultimately assessing the quality of the relationship, not the person. Seek wise counsel if you are considering ending a relationship. And while friends play an important role in offering emotional support, your peers may not be the best suited to serve as wise counsel. Wise adult counsel will protect you from blind spots, assuring you are breaking up for the right reasons, not too prematurely, and also in the right way. Utilize time and distance. You may need to ask the other person in the relationship to give you time alone to think. Dating exists for evaluation, so give yourself some dedicated time to assess where you are and gain clarity on what to do next. As a matter of fact, you could decide at the beginning of your dating relationship for the both of you to assess after a specific amount of time, like 6 months. Ephesians 4:15 tells us, speak the truth in love. So in breaking up, we will choose to speak, not be silent. We will speak the truth, not things we cannot know. We will speak the truth in love, not being needlessly cruel, and we will do it so we can all grow with the hope that this moment will ultimately be constructive, not destructive. If you prepare correctly, then you should have a clear, concise, compassionate conversation. So let's break this down. Speak. Have a conversation with the person about the breakup. Do not ghost them. It causes confusion, sadness, disappointment, and hurt. If we do not like being ignored, then we will not disrespect others by doing that to them. Remember, we only block and bless when it's inappropriate and repeated harassment. What do we speak? We speak the truth. When the time comes, clearly state what you want, why, and how. After you've taken the time to evaluate, process, and come to a decision, approach that person with a clear and concise conversation. Begin by clearly stating what you want. I want to break up. Eliminate the ambiguity. It may sound harsh, but I promise it's not. Slowly pulling off the Band-Aid is a form of torture. No one benefits from a long, drawn-out ordeal. Don't drag it out so that the relationship dies slowly by a million little deaths. Proverbs 24:26 says, an honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. In the culture in which this was written, a kiss was a sign of respect. It honors someone to be honest. Remember, clarity is kindness, so be clear in how you came to your decision. If you have only been on a date or two, this can be brief. A text would be sufficient. Sample language could be, thank you for dinner last week. I enjoyed meeting you. After some time of reflection, I do not see our relationship progressing beyond friendship. I wish you all the best. If you've dated for a longer period of time, then a longer in-person explanation would be appropriate. I spent the last few months praying about you and processing our relationship with some wise counsel. I have taken the time I need, and I've come to the decision that you and I are not a good fit. Be clear and concise when you tell them why. You may want to offer a few reasons that you unearthed in your time evaluation. However, you do not need to recount the full litany of his or her transgressions. Keep in mind that you can truly only know two things: the person's actions and your emotions. What you cannot know for certain is their motives. So avoid statements that suggest you know the motives of their heart. Even if we have known someone a long time, we may not know all the reasons why they do what they do. You may state some actions you find concerning and how they made you feel, but you do not need to try to hypothesize the person's motives. But you need to be clear the door on dating is closed. Sometimes the person being broken up with will try to keep a crack in the door. How do we speak? We're going to speak in truth, in love, and then grow. Communicate in a way that evidences genuine concern for the well-being of the other person. You can be caring in the conversation by choosing an appropriate place. Though your words should be clear and concise, your tone should be kind. You can achieve balance by genuinely wishing the best for them. A good breakup can be constructive, not destructive. Also, be careful not to place any blame on God, because God didn't tell you to break up with them. While these types of conversations are no fun, clear, compassionate truth can be a catalyst for growth. You want the freedom to move on from the relationship toward a positive future. Now, how do you mend a broken heart? How do you walk out of the valley of heartbreak to the hilltops of the other side? Time. Crawl, walk, sprint, move in a forward direction. Separate. Physically separate yourself from the other person to give your mind and body a chance to rest. Studies show that when you go through a breakup, the centers in your brain fire in a similar way as an addict coming off a drug. In a sense, you became addicted to the rush of pleasant feelings you experienced with the person. But now you need to stop feeding the addiction. For a season, no texting, calling, or stalking online. Then you need to grieve. Your mind naturally built a future with them, but now you need to stop feeding. Give yourself permission to feel sad. Maybe keep a list of reasons the breakup happened and reference it when thoughts emerge. Grieve the loss of the potential future. Then move on to a useful, healthy activity. Spending time with friends, family, going on a vacation, volunteering. Trials can be great teachers. Our painful moments in life possess the potential to offer us insight. Learn from the past. Don't live in it. Watch the game film, then carry the lessons forward to another day. So the call of action is, what qualities should I look for in a person to date? What boundaries are hardest for me to keep? What do I need to give me more success in keeping those boundaries? Write down your healthy dating standards you want to keep. If you honor them, God will bring that right person to you.